After being acquitted last year, Neil Bentelman could be facing prison again. The temperatures are expected to drop in Toronto overnight as the city is under an extreme cold weather alert. Demolition crews stand by in Calais as they wait for a decision from a French judge. Hi, and welcome to Humber News. I'm Katie Jones, coming to you from our newsroom here at Humber College North Campus. Indonesia's Supreme Court has overturned the acquittal of a Canadian teacher, and it's added another year to his original 10-year sentence. Neil Bentelman was convicted of sexually abusing kindergarten students at an international school in Jakarta last April. He was acquitted last August along with his teaching assistant. Even though Bentelman was acquitted, he was forbidden from leaving the country and his passport was revoked. Police are currently searching for him. Canada's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Stéphane Dion, says the government is deeply dismayed by the reversal. He says the ruling is unjust. Toronto's medical officer of health has issued an extreme cold weather alert. Temperatures are expected to drop to -12, but tonight it'll feel more like -20. The extreme weather has left hundreds of thousands without power across eastern Canada. At Pearson Airport this morning, a temporary power outage made for long lineups. Meanwhile, the weather in southern and eastern U.S. has left many without homes. Virginia has been hit with several tornadoes and thunderstorms, leaving behind a trail of destruction. Tens of thousands are without power, 3 are dead, and 30 have been injured. Toronto police have announced the annual campaign for Fraud Prevention Month. It'll be launching in a couple of days by the Toronto Police Service Financial Crimes Unit. The campaign is to help Canadians recognize, report, and stop fraud.
Fraud does not know any barriers with respect to age, gender, socioeconomic levels, intellect, or specific cultural groups. We are all equally vulnerable to the fraudster that would convince each and every one of us that they are genuine with their request for money. However, the end result in all cases of fraud is the great personal loss to our families and livelihoods.
By recognizing it, we are asking Canadians and Canadian businesses to question the legitimacy of every inquiry they receive, every deal they are offered, especially those that are online and on social media. Once they've recognized the scam, the next step is to reject it. Delete the email, hang up the phone, or throw out the materials. And third and final step is to report it to the appropriate law enforcement agency.
The first event is being held for Fraud Prevention Month is hashtag Don't Be Fooled of It. It's a joint initiative with police and the Toronto District School Board. 2 people have been stabbed in downtown Toronto and 1 man is fighting for his life. The incident happened overnight near Bloor and Parliament. The man is suffering serious injuries after being stabbed in the neck, chest, and legs. Shortly after, a second man was discovered nearby with stab wounds. Police haven't said if the incidents are related. Meanwhile, in Brampton, 2 people suffered serious injuries after another stabbing near Queen and Kennedy. Peel police say a male also suffered minor injuries and is being investigated as a possible suspect. In France today, migrants are waiting for their fate to be determined. The French government wants to close down part of the Calais migrant camp known as the Jungle, but plans for demolition are causing big controversy. If the plans go through, more than 3,000 migrants will be displaced. Meanwhile, across Europe, waves of migrants keep arriving at the Greek islands, despite many border closings along the Balkan route. Overnight, an Italian Coast Guard rescued more than 100 migrants arriving to the islands on overcrowded boats. Around 20,000 are currently trapped in Greece because of the closures. To New York now, where 5 members of the U.S. Coast Guard found themselves in deep water after their boat capsized during a rescue operation this morning. The Coast Guards were responding to an urgent call from a fishing boat that went aground when its own ship capsized in huge waves. The guardsmen were able to swim to shore, and finally Coast Guard helicopters arrived and rescuers were lowered to take the fishermen to safety. No one was hurt in the operation.
Oh, they might not even land.
Florida police are investigating the cause of a small plane crash on Wednesday afternoon. The pilot and only person on board was on a routine maintenance flight when he reported engine problems. He was headed to Fort Lauderdale Executive Airport when he made an emergency landing, just blocks away from his destination. The plane landed on a residential street and just barely missed this home. The pilot escaped without injuries, and the house is still in perfect condition. To London now, a new report is scamming the BBC's action regarding Jimmy Savile. Savile, one of BBC's best-known celebrities from the 60s and 70s, was a sexual predator who had over 100 victims. The report was released at a news conference this morning. The report says that it was the culture of the BBC that kept the victims quiet. It says there has been fear of complaining within the BBC for decades and no evidence that Banage ever learned about the crimes. BBC director Tony Hall expressed his sympathies to anyone affected by Savile's actions.
The reputation of the corporation, as opposed to protecting staff and the people coming to enjoy our shows.
The report has prompted investigations into 2 more BBC personalities, as well as other high-profile celebrities. In other news, the debate on whether to unlock the San Bernardino shooter's iPhone is escalating. Apple CEO Tim Cook says unlocking the phone would be bad for America. Cook sat down for an interview with ABC News Wednesday to discuss the issue. He says complying with a court order to unlock the iPhone would set an example that would offend many Americans.
We believe it does put hundreds of millions of customers at risk.
The U.S. government wants Apple to help access encrypted information on the shooter's phone. Rizwan Farouk and his wife went on a shooting rampage in December that killed 14 people and wounded 22. It looks like Facebook just caught feelings. You now have even more of a reason to be scrolling through your newsfeed. Sasha Azaz has the story.
Looks like Facebook's like button just got a facelift. You can now express your feelings towards a post with 7 new emoticons. I took to the halls to hear what students had to say.
Going to be a lot more cyberbullying going on, I bet. But, I mean, stupid people need to know when they're being dumb. I feel like that's an important thing to tell them when they are being dumb.
With only 1 click, you can share your feelings.
Yeah, it's easier than typing, I guess, just to put a face. You don't really have to say anything. Easy.
It has been in testing since October, but was just released worldwide. The day-old feature has gained the attention of many users.
I kind of used this feature yesterday. It was actually pretty cool, but like in a way, I'm not gonna use it a lot. But in the future, yeah, a lot of people want the dislike feature too as well.
Facebook's new feature is getting mixed reviews from Humber College students. I guess we'll have to see if people will learn to love it. Sasha Aziz, Humber News.
When we come back, we'll tell you what's happening in the world of sports, and Ryan Durgee will have your 3-day forecast.
Toronto is under an extreme cold weather alert. I'll tell you when you'll have to bundle up, as well as have your full 3-day forecast after the break.
But first, Oregon residents are dealing with some uninvited guests today. This raft of sea lions is causing quite the spectacle at a dock along the Columbia River. The freeloaders have come to feast on a smelt after a resurgence of the small fish. Fun to watch, but all the attention they're getting is hardly sustainable. The mayor says these tough customers have already done around $25,000 of damage.